Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1 Board of Directors meeting is now in session. The time is 7:01. All the directors are present.
501.
501, Jim, not 701.
Okay, I'm creature of habit. Okay, 5:01. Citizens' presentations. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the board on any matter, whether or not it's posted on the agenda. The board is not permitted to take action on or discuss any presentations made to the board at this time concerning an item not listed on the agenda. The board will hear presentations on specific agenda items prior to the board addressing those items. You may speak up to 3 minutes, or the time limit determined by the president or presiding officer. To speak during this item, you must complete the speaker's form that indicates the topics of your statement. Topics of presentation should be limited to matters over which the board has authority. Mr. Rose, state your name and address, please. Before you start, I'd like to make sure that you understand that the purpose of the MUD directors is to provide water and wastewater treatment at the lowest possible cost. While we're very pleased with the way we relate to the towns around us, that's not really our purpose. Our purpose is to make sure that the revenues that are coming in are covered all of the expenses that we have. That is what we've been doing, that is our function, and that's what we're going to continue to do. You got 3 minutes, go.
Thank you, sir. Bill Rose, 219 Inverness Drive. A MUD resident for about 21 years now. In the information age, ignorance is a choice. The MUD, operating under Texas Open Meetings Act, is required with some exceptions to hold its discussions in open meetings and to announce the intent to have a discussion on a particular topic on an agenda. At the MUD May 20th meeting, I raised the issue of a more equitable basis for determining sewer charges during the citizen input portion of the meeting. The presentation of the new rate order did not indicate winter average rates had been considered. A subsequent open records request indicated that the MUD had never discussed winter average rates. At your June 17th meeting, winter average rates were not on the agenda. During the citizen presentation, I demonstrated that the general manager's May 20th presentation inaccurately represented the application of sewer caps. I also clearly demonstrated that the majority of the Metroplex population enjoys the advantages of winter average rates as they relate to sewer charges. A sampling of 50 other cities in Texas was given, indicating a clear industry standard in both the Metroplex and Texas. That brings us to this evening's meeting. Once again, winter average rates are not on the agenda. So before I begin listing cities around the U.S. that use winter average rates, let's ask a couple of simple questions. Now, I understand clearly that in asking these questions, we cannot engage in a discussion so that you may not answer them at this time. Tell me why the use of winter average rates is so widely adopted and why it's not been considered by Trophy Club MUD 1. In February 2014, my sewer bill was $20.21. This June, the bill was $42.71. The June bill indicates that my sewer usage jumped from a February usage of 3,000 gallons to 12,000 gallons. To say that I put 12,000 gallons of sewage in the system in the June-July time period would be a bold-faced lie. It didn't happen. This MUD cannot begin to process the volume of waste it is charging its customers to process. Do the residents of the Quorum and Plantation apartments sewer bills increase 3- or 4-fold in the summer for processing the same volume of waste that was processed in the winter? Thank you, Mr. President. See you next month.
Boy, that thing's loud.
Thought that was a
Thank
call
you,
for
Mr.
Danny
Rose.
and his crew.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All matters listed as a consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Directors and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Consider and take appropriate action to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion that we approve the items on the consent agenda.
Jim, I read these, all of them, I second it.
Motion's made by Neil, seconded by Jim Thomas. All those in favor? It is unanimous. We will now move into the regular session. Item 2, consider and take appropriate action to approve order number 2014-0715, amending section 2.012 of the district rate order to clarify base charges for meter sizes servicing multi-unit buildings. Discussion. And/or a motion.
I make a motion that we approve Order 2014-0715, amending Section 2.012 of the district rate order to clarify base service charges for meter sites servicing multiple buildings with a small change at Section 7, I think it is, Article 7. It needs to reflect the correct rate order of 715. I think that's the right, is that what I told you?
Yes. The, in Article 7, I forgot to change the name of the order from 0520 to 0715, and Kevin saw that, so we'll make sure on the final we change that in Section 7.
It's under Article 7, repeal of previous orders, is the header.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, Jennifer, take me to the page number where the change is, please. I had trouble finding it.
It's page 40 if you're looking at it on the,
Well, I'm on 12 or 14 in the packet. So it'll be page 40?
14 and 14.
it's page 40 of the PDF. I
And-
don't know what, I'm looking at it as a PDF. It's 14 of 14 if you're looking at the pages. It's the last page.
Where's the actual change? I see the date change.
It's 14 of 14, right above the signature.
And it is changed and corrected in the paper copy that you will sign if you approve it.
If, Jennifer, if you would, please, you say it's Article 7?
Yes, that's the portion that Kevin is asking to correct. I think what you're asking is what is different in this that you're approving?
Yes.
Okay, in the, let me go to that real quick. And that way I can tell you the page.
Page 14.
I see where you, in blue, have put the change of date. I just don't see where you've made the change that we're voting on, so I'm not sure what I'm voting for.
Okay, it's on page 34 of your packet, and it says each multi-unit building, apartment, townhomes, business complex, etc., served by a single, it used to just say a single meter, shall be billed the base rate for the meter size servicing the building.
I see it now. You just
Multiply
added-
by the number of units. It should have said by a single 5/8 inch meter or 1 inch meter.
I see it now. I got it.
That's the only change.
Thank you, ma'am. I just rolled right through that.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Item number 3, consider and take appropriate action to approve resolution number 2014-0715A, authorizing the general manager to approve certain expenditures, providing for the disbursement of district funds, and containing other matters relating to the safekeeping of district funds. Do we have any comments? Anything you want to say, Jennifer?
I'll just kind of point out that the primary change to the purchasing policy is moving the advertising amount from $50,000 to $75,000. That was approved in the legislature, so we just want to get our purchasing policy in line with what the state bidding laws are. without changing this, we have to advertise for bids for anything over 50,000. And they changed it to be, we don't have to advertise for bids till over 75,000. So that's the major change of this. There's a few little, I think, my title was changed in some places, and a few other little minor details, but that was the major change, and that was the real purpose of it.
I make a motion that we approve resolution number 2014-0715A, authorizing general manager to approve certain expenditures, providing for the disbursement of district funds and containing other matters relating to the safekeeping of the district funds.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? It is unanimous. Item 4, consider and take appropriate action to approve the cooperative purchasing agreement with Denton County for the purchase of communication equipment and allow the general manager to execute the necessary documents. Jennifer, any comment on that?
This is actually an item that Danny requested, and it was so that you all can buy your radios. Is that correct?
Right, Motorola, Denton County's coming to the digital age, and they made contract with Motorola, and they're in the process of getting all the contracts signed and stuff, and we'll get on their buy board or their buy contract for their radios. So we're on Tarrant County's and Denton County, so we should get pretty good sweet deal, hopefully.
Danny, this resolution just gets you on the buy board.
Yes, sir.
Didn't we approve the funds for those radios a couple months ago?
We bought handheld radios.
Okay.
We still have to change out our mobile radios and our base station radios sometime in this next fiscal year.
There could actually be other future things that
Right.
he may want to buy off of that contract as well, but this just lets us join that cooperative purchasing program.
Jim, I'd like to move that we proceed positively in this manner.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Director Toomey seconds. Any further discussion? If there's not, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? It is unanimous. Item 5, consider and take appropriate action to approve the June 2014 monthly financials. Renee, you're on.
Kevin called me yesterday, and he had a couple of questions about the financials, not a lot. We did discuss that, and I think he's okay with it.
I have two questions. Renee, just two quick questions off the variance report. And Jennifer, maybe this one's actually for you. Jay Stowe was budgeted at 7,000 and came in at 8,400. What caused that overage?
We had him appear at a couple of CIC meetings, and he came to a couple of extra board meetings that were not part of the original proposal.
Oh, did he ever come to a council meeting?
I don't think he came to a council meeting, no.
Okay. Well, I remember the extra meetings. That satisfies me there. On the elections, this one, I just was curious. Seems to me like we ought to know what elections are going to cost ahead of time. We budgeted $2,500, but it came in at $3,709. Why?
We don't always know what they're going to be. We actually can't know because it depends on how many groups, how many other entities participate in the election. Some entities are able to cancel, so basically the more entities, the lower the cost, because you're sharing in the cost of the personnel and that sort of thing. So we don't know the cost of the election.
Who besides us in the town do this?
The school district,
All three of those are going to participate, are they not? I can't see any one of those bowing out of an election.
if they don't have any opposed candidates, they can. And I don't really know who all's on the ballot in our polling location, but it's more of a pool of the whole as far as how many polling locations and the staff that they have to have. I mean,
Not just this location.
not just this location, it's for an election as a whole.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And one line item that didn't hit the variance, I don't think, is the interest income. And that interest income was from the interest we had on the letter of credit for the PID fees and stuff. It was about 71,200 or something like that. So that if you look at the numbers, that might stick out real fast. But other than that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the June 2014 combined financials.
I have one more question. I see the unassigned fund balance at 495,688.
Before, can
I'll
we
s-
get a second and
I'll
we can
second.
discuss?
Second motion.
Uh-oh.
You just tried to wipe a computer out here.
Go these quickly and we'll get something better.
Try to get this thing wiped off here.
Yeah.
The keyboard.
I made a motion, he seconded it, so now we can have discussion.
Okay.
Boy, I can smell that coffee.
This is called a coffee break, Jim.
Yeah, it's a real coffee break. You just thought you had some before, but
Oh, here we come. Paper towel there. Everybody's cussing.
Everybody's got them now.
we'll need some
We're okay, I
water.
think, now, Laurie,
Little water.
but save that, because we're gonna need it sooner or later.
Meeting's not over yet.
Okay, we have,
Want to vote? Is that,
we have a motion
okay.
Can I second?
by
Kevin.
Director Carr and a second by Director Toomey. And any discussion, Director Hayes?
Yes, I wanted to ask a question. The unassigned fund balance on the balance sheet shows 495,688. I don't know what the current year-end expenditures is. I think today we talked about it being 6.2. Is that still right?
Yes, the budgeted amount.
Okay.
Well, no, when we amended it, it went up because we added the 800,000 in for the engineering of the wastewater plant from reserves.
So it's at 7.0 now?
Yeah.
And the 495 appears to be more than 35% of 7 million.
What page are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at the balance sheet. Let's see what page number it is.
76 of 154.
Okay, yeah, I think it's 59 of 154.
59?
59.
Okay, yeah, the balance sheet, I see where you're looking.
Okay, so if it were a $7 million incurred cost forecast for the end of the year,
This is
Uh,
fire.
10% of that would be 70,000. Is that right? Yeah.
700,000 would be 10%, right, of 7 million? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah.
This is the fire balance sheet.
Oh, is this fire? Okay.
Yeah, there's a separate one for,
Okay.
there's the fire one, the operations, and then an INS and
Okay,
a capital projects.
What page is the
General fund is 76.
76? Okay. Maybe that'll help him if he looks at that page.
Okay, then I'm looking at page,
Yeah, it's 76.
okay. And it shows 2,708,490, is that right, for unassigned fund balance?
Yes.
So 700,000 times 30% would be 2,000,001, and then half of 700 would be 350, is 2,450,000 would be 35% of 7.0, if I'm doing this calculation in my head. So have a little more unassigned fund balance than the 35%, which I like that factor. Do you agree with that analysis?
I'm looking at Renee and Terry to see if they agree with that analysis.
I was looking for the fund balance report.
It's up in the, I believe in the, oh, wait, never mind. Page 76 is the fund balance report.
PDF.
76?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I thought that
76
was
of
the,
154.
35% of the year's.
that's the balance sheet. I was looking for the, you had it up.
Oh, I'm
just a
sorry, that
second.
is the balance sheet.
Oh,
Cash,
okay.
unassigned cash fund balance.
But that's what he's looking at. He's looking at that page.
Yeah.
And it does show an unassigned fund balance
35%
of 2.7.
Right. But I have a fund balance report in there that breaks it down and compares it to the budget.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to find.
That's on, I think, 132 or something. let's see, that's the sinking
I think that's where I started, so.
cash.
No, that's the outside
the
list.
INS.
Balance, yeah, it's on, page
INS.
132.
No, that was the INS.
That's INS. There's a report called a fund balance report. I don't see it on the agenda.
Do you anticipate, Renee, that the fund balance report will show a different unassigned fund balance, different from what appears on the 2,708,000?
No, it should not.
Same number?
And as far as the auditors are concerned, there's two different ones. One with just, the mud and the fire separate, and then there's one with the mud and fire together, because when the auditor comes in and he, at the end of the day, fire and O&M go together and they're considered one. And so I have a separate one in there, and that's what I was trying to find. I don't see it in there.
I guess the question I would like to ask, if the 35% mark is about 2,450,000, my next door neighbor told me here, of 7 million, 35%. So we're coming into the more profitable months of the year now, because water sales are going to exceed cost increases more in June, July, August,
Right.
September than they do. So the 2,708,000 is likely to increase.
Right.
And now, I personally think 35% is too low. So if it increases, I'm happy.
Okay. Well, our GASB 54 that we go through every year, we renew it every year, and our ranges, ideal ranges are between 25 and 35%. So.
And I was
higher
going
is
to point
higher.
out that what we show is that 25% would be 1.8 million and 35% would be 2.5 million. So we're,
You're a couple hundred and likely go higher.
yeah.
So I think that's good, because I think AWBD recommends 50 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Reports and updates. Item 6, update regarding rate comparison with other utility providers. Director Thomas.
Well, you've seen it posted on the website. I've done a series of calculations to compare us against the communities around us. What I've specifically done is, and it's interesting, the items posted online are not always correct. And I found that out in each one of these cases, once I've completed a set of numbers, I have contacted the utility billing manager in each of these cities and spoken with the appropriate individual to go through the calculated numbers for them versus ours. In just broad brush comparison, the Excel spreadsheet is posted on the website. You can go look at the numbers and where they came from, and you can go look at who was talked to. But our rates against the 19,000, let me back up for a second. In discussing this with Jennifer, because of the new larger homes that have come online in the last year, our average has creeped up more to 19,000 gallons over 18,500. So if you use that as an average home, then an average home is also going to pay for 18,000 gallons, the new cap of sewage. Because if they burn 19,000 gallons of water, they're going to burn 18,000 gallons of sewage. All right, so I took the rates of all of the municipalities against what their average is. Like winter averaging was considered in every case where it's being used. And in the case where winter average was used, I got the winter average rate from that city and have used that number, because I'm not going to use a calculation of 18,000 gallons when they're only using maybe 10,000 gallons. As an example, Grapevine has a minimum per month of 2,000 gallons, a maximum cap on sewage of 15,000, but their utility billing keeps records, and they know that the average user is 10,000 gallons a month of sewage. The Director of Public Works at Westlake had that number just like this. He knows that they use 15,000 gallons of sewage on an average home. So point being is averages for all of the municipalities were used in this report because average is what we have on our report. Our number at that comes up on the page, $130 at a 5/8-inch pipe, $134 at a 1-inch pipe. That compares Grapevine and Keller are cheaper than we are in both the 5/8 as well as the 1-inch. Roanoke, Southlake, and Westlake are more than we are, with Westlake being dramatically more. Now, there are 4 spreadsheets that are going to be prepared as part of this effort. That's spreadsheet number 1. Number 2 has 11, I've got 11 of 20 municipalities that fall in the range of 10,000 population and under. And I am now capturing the population, and each city, by the way, I've asked them to give me their best guess as their population effective July 1st of this year. And surprisingly, every one of them have a pretty good grasp of that number. Our number, by the way, happens to be 10,800 people, according to Tammy Ard, as of July 1st. And so you'll be able to see on this next report the size of the municipalities. I have actually captured on this one exactly where they procure their water from. Are they buying it from someone? Do they have their own water plant? If they're getting it from a lake, where's it coming from? I'm capturing exactly who processes their sewage for them. Interestingly enough, out of the 11 municipalities that I have finished, 10 of them use winter averaging. 7 of the 11 are more expensive than Trophy Club, even with their winter averaging. Cost more money for the same amount of usage. 4 are less, and those 4 are Bridgeport, Decatur, Haslett, and Lake Worth. Of the ones, now again, there are 20 that will be completed on this. I have 8 more to go. I should have it done by the end of the week. As soon as I do, it'll be given to Jennifer for publication on the website. Third phase of this is going to be 20 municipalities that are between 10,000. And by the way, this is how the website broke them down when I did my lookup. I will have 20 municipalities between 10,000 and 100,000. And then in the Metroplex, there are 9 municipalities that exceed 100,000, that's Irving and Dallas and Fort Worth. That will be done as well. When we're finished, we'll have 4 of these spreadsheets, which will actually show the real cost of what we're paying against the real cost of what all these other municipalities are paying for the exact same situations. This is as apples to apples as I can make it. And you'll see in this one, it's as an example, the footnotes. In the case of Aubrey does this really weird. They have 3 categories of sewer charge, and depending on how many gallons you use, you pay the full amount of that category. Category 1, 2, or 3. Really a weird way to do it. But then again, there's no standard way to do this stuff. 75% of Aubrey's sewer users pay the middle tier flat price of $32.99. Source of information, Jeannie Huckabee, Public Works Department. So this kind of information will be annotated throughout these spreadsheets. I am doing everything possible to double check and triple check and quadruple check the math. I mean, if you mess with this stuff, Neil, it's little bitty numbers. I am letting Excel add where possible, but on the calculations, you just have to manually do them. And it's getting real cute. Some of these cities I'm running into now charged by the 1,000 cubic feet. So I get a chance to go onto the internet and do a conversion table, and it says 1,000 cubic feet is X thousands gallons of water, because my numbers are against gallons of water. And I will convert the cubic feet to be exactly the same number of gallons. When we get through, folks, we'll have 4 spreadsheets, I think, that our public can look at, and it will show our cost in spades against 50 cities in this Metroplex, of which Mr. Rose is correct, a great number of them are using winter average and still charge more money than we do for the same volumes.
Are we capturing how much is commercial in those
I am
cities?
not looking commercial at all. I am only looking, and the reason, Kevin, we have so little commercial outside of Solana. This is bad enough as it is.
I know,
I'm looking at residential only. I'm looking at 5/8-inch and 1-inch meters only, except if a community, there are a couple of communities that don't have 5/8 inches. They have only 3/4 inch meters. In that case, I've used their 3/4, and it's annotated on the sheets exactly what size meters they have.
Jim, one question.
Yes.
When you were talking, Jim
I'm
Thomas.
sorry.
Sorry. When you were talking, you mentioned Grapevine thought their winter average was around 10,000.
Right.
but when you talked to Westlake, you said how fast, their public works guy said it was 15. Do you think that denotes the larger homes? I mean, over in Westlake, you're talking $1 million properties.
Actually, Neil, maybe the answer is yes, but some people water a lot more than others, and they just burn up more water. And it's interesting, you know, you sit there and you say sprinkler systems don't wind up in the sewer, but calculations of these cities go on thousands of gallons.
Yeah.
And so when I met with, is it Jared Greenwood? Yeah, Jared Greenwood is the person that came out and spoke with me about this. And you know, his average use of sewer on a monthly basis in Westlake, sewer now, is 15,000 gallons. I said, wow, it's not too far off what we're doing, and yet that's their real average.
And one other thing, and I'm just kind of glancing at this, I notice the base rate or access, it seems to be higher for all the towns, pretty much all the towns using winter average.
Well, Neil, you got to make your revenue up somewhere. You know,
What's a balance?
I mean, you know, you got to have the money from somewhere. If you got X number of expenses, and you're using winter average, and that drives your revenue down, you got to take your base up, or you got to take your step rates up, because the revenue's the revenue. You got to make it one way or the other.
Okay, so it's really a balancing act. Either you're going to raise the base rate up, or you're going to have a higher, if you want to call it a winter average, or you could say, whatever you say, the first 12,000 or 10,000 or 18,000. So if you reduce the 18,000, you got to raise the base rate up to make up for the lack of.
Well, let me give you an example. Trophy Club, just 5/8 inch meter. Trophy Club's base rate is $12.71.
Right.
Argyle, $27.04. Aubrey, $24.44. Blue Mound, $43.91. Boyd, $26.30. Bridgeport, $17.50. Decatur, $17.59. Farmersville, $12.31. Haslett gets down in pretty good. Matter of fact, Haslett's got, man, if you want low water rates, you want to go buy a home in Haslett. I mean, they don't charge much for water and sewer.
Yeah, but I'll beg to differ in that I live there, and you didn't always have the water, so that was an issue.
Well, anyway.
Same
it's
with Justin.
It's 1610 is their base rate.
You're lucky if you got home and had water.
And Lake Worth is even, is $7.50 is their base rate. And that's just the 5/8 inch meter. The base rates are different on 1 inch meters. Interestingly enough, particularly in this tier group, one thing that kind of surprised me a little bit, only 1 or 2 of these municipalities have a different base rate for the 1 inch meter over a 5/8 inch meter. The majority of them have the same base rate, doesn't matter what size meter you got. I thought that was truly interesting. And I've got it annotated on this for each city, you know, so you'll be able to see it when I produce this thing. Hope to have this one ready by Tuesday. Hope to have this one ready for Jennifer to put on the website by Friday. I'm only 8 cities shy of finishing this one. And really and truthfully, the time-consuming thing is to get the people in the water department to take the time and go through the information with me. It takes about a half hour per city to do that, and sometimes it takes 2 or 3 calls to get it all right.
Thank you, Jim. You've done a really remarkable job, and we appreciate the effort. I know a great many hours goes into putting something like that together. So any other comments from anyone?
No, it gets to be pretty tedious on an Excel sheet, and you make one error in a parentheses and you throw everything off, so.
Matter of fact, Neil, after the meeting, I got to ask you a question on how to do something.
God help me.
Okay, we move on to reports and updates. Update regarding rate comparison with other, we've just done that. General Manager's Report, item 7. Jennifer?
Okay, I don't really have a lot to cover in there. I'll kind of leave it open for questions. Kevin had actually asked me a question about the wastewater report, and fortunately Carl showed up just in time to answer the question for me. But Carl, if you recall, back in the early June, we had a major overage in the BOD,
June 2nd.
and I couldn't remember what the issue was that day. Was that when the sand filter was out? Both filters or something?
Yeah, we had a lot of issues that day. We actually, I believe that actually that day rained also the day before. It had a lot of high flow, and the treatment capacity just wasn't working like it should have been working.
Were you sticking?
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Just making sure.
Jim, I have a couple of questions for Jennifer. Jennifer, on the website analytics, the very first item, which represents 46.51% of the hits, 1,851, is a slash and no explanation as to what it is.
I'm sorry, on where?
The website analytics,
Uh-huh.
item number 1 on the report, a top item on the page, it's got the most hits, but no description as to what that is that people are hitting. Everything else is listed. It'll say, you know, the agendas, or it'll say,
Oh, I see.
That's the home page.
was that just strictly homepage?
Yes, number 1 is the homepage,
Okay.
where just the slash is.
Second question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
All right. In the PID document, Renee, did I read it correctly that out of total, it looks like we have 4,280 total connections, of which 3,058 of them are mud and 1,222 of them are PID. Is that correct?
You're talking about the UB report?
Uh-huh.
Let me find it. I was just looking up the PID one.
That sounds correct, because it's on the water report as well, and I was looking at that yesterday.
Well, the reason I'm asking the question is in my own mind, I just want to kind of think ahead.
Yes, in the
Against the 1407 that they're going to build, that leaves 185 more to go. How many, now this 1222 is connections, if I understand the report. What I didn't see is how many permits have been paid for so far. I didn't see it in the set of reports like we get every month. And so what I'm trying to figure out is how many more houses times the $2,300 can we expect?
I'm showing 159 left
That's in-
Okay,
that we've collected to date, 1,248.
good deal.
yeah, it's on the UB report, I think.
Bid connection report.
Yeah.
Well, I missed it. I kept trying to find it and I just missed it, I guess. The 159 represents how much additional revenue, Renee? Times 2,300, anybody got that?
Left?
Yeah.
$365,700.
And at current bill rate, unless it slows down, we could anticipate, I believe, that will happen in 12 months. They're building over
Well,
200 a year.
They're kind of being kind of slow this year.
Yeah, remember, Jim, I mean, that's just PID related. There's other houses, like the Hogan's Glen and things like that, are not in the PID.
I'm just tracking this revenue and trying to, in my own mind, Kevin, to figure out how soon we can expect to receive it, because, you know, we've got some pretty significant bills coming at us, and I'm just trying to forecast where the revenue's gonna come from, in my own mind.
267, so we,
I did want to point out also on the website analytics that we did break it down as you asked last month, Mr. Thomas. so-
And I appreciate that very much.
Okay.
And
So
I
we did
but-
do
And I
that.
read it too, Jennifer.
okay, we've done 108 so far this year. Total.
180,
108,
108.
yes,
And we've got July, August, September still to go.
right.
So we have, if you divide 108 by 3 and add that to it, is how much? Another 40?
3?
Well, that's three quarters. You've done 108 and 3/4, you got a fourth quarter to go.
Well, but they're slowing down, and during this past month, they only did 11. So,
Basically, you might get another, if the rate stayed the same, you get about another 35.
Tell you what, let's make it real easy. 185, you'll have it in 2 years. Slam dunk, you'll have it in 2 years.
I think so. It's 159 left.
Again, you'll have it in 2 years.
Jennifer, anything else?
Yes, a couple more things. The Indian Creek project, going well. Yesterday, there was a bit of a blip in that they hit an AT&T line, but that looks like we've got past that. And the contractor is back in progress of laying some line as of today. Also wanted to remind everyone that we have tried to set up the budget workshop for August 6th from 10 to noon. Neil will be with us via Skype, but the rest of you, if you can be here, don't forget, we've got that set up for August 6th. Okay, that's it on the manager's report.
Any questions for Jennifer, anybody?
Jennifer, when you said someone nicked the AT&T line, was it the contractor, or was it our people?
No, it was the contractor that was laying the line.
Okay, fire department report, Chief Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Moss. I think Lori handed out the hand report because we had a little glitch in the computer part of it, but you have it in front of you. June was a fairly calm month. We had about a 1 hour jump up and scream and holler. We had 7 runs in 30 minutes. We had 3 inches of rain in 1 hour's time, so we all scrambled for that 1 hour. So all of our mutual aids were due to this storm event. We had a brief flooding in Trophy Club. The east side of town got hit pretty hard, so nobody was displaced in their homes or whatever, but we did scramble. We had a lightning strike, electrical fire, and about 5 citizens assist because of high water in that hour's time, and it went away just as fast as it came. So,
Chief, do you have any specifics on the flooding as far as particular houses? I thought I saw on Facebook that Jean Carter had some flooding, and you remember she's had that horrible thing with the sewage thing a few years ago, and I thought, boy, if that's her, that really multiplies the poor lady's problems.
Jim, I'd have to look at the reports to see.
I just saw it on somewhere
Yeah,
on. I thought on.
All the runnage in the flooding we had was stormwater. We didn't have any. I don't think we had any sewer issues as far as the lids or thing. We had a couple of manholes popped because of the stormwater.
Okay,
And
thank
those
you.
were stormwater,
Go-
stormwater sewer system manholes popped. We had a lot of confusion about that. We did not have any sanitary sewer overflows during the storm event. It was the storm drains were peeking out and causing the manholes to pop. But I think people see a manhole come up and they automatically think that it's sewer.
Yeah.
But it was not sanitary sewer, it was just storm sewers.
Danny, two questions for you. First one was, I was intrigued that in the month of March, your mutual aid received was 26 calls, yet the rest of the time it's like 3, 6, 7, 1, 2, 6. What in the heck in March required 26 mutual aid?
March was the big brush fire.
Is that the fire?
Yes.
How do you count this thing? 26?
That's the 26 mutual aiding departments came to us for help.
If you look at the report, Jim, I asked them to add another line, I think it's above that, that actually counts events.
Yeah, the events is 2.
Right, it was, in March, was it only 2?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Events
Danny said
received was 2, and
when we had those brush fire, everybody and their brother.
One of them was
looked like
one
a
of them was an
fireman,
EMS
yeah.
call, Jim, and the other one was the big lake fire we had that we fought for 3 days.
There was how many fire trucks showed up? 20 or?
We had 22 brush trucks, 5 engines, 3 ladders. You know, we had a
And I
slew of.
want to take time to mention that Jim Hayes' grandson actually called that
Yeah.
in and stuff, so.
Yeah, I thought we were going to do something about that. I forgot all about that. We really need to recognize, he's the one that made the original 911 call for us to, for smoke investigation.
I want to, again, say thanks. I called you earlier, but I wanted to say it on record for adding that line.
He
of
said
events.
it's no big deal. Anybody would have done the same.
Danny, my second question for you is, what is service? Now, let me, before you answer that, I noticed that on the EMS side of our expense, 41% of our people's time is associated with EMS calls, and only 8% of their time is associated with fire calls.
Now it's 59%, because you got to look at the fire calls, the service calls, the false alarm calls, and good intent calls. All of that is encompassed with
You
the
don't
fire
get it-
department going to, and the fire
You don't get
department.
an EMS false alarm?
We do, but, you know, it's either transport or no transport. We go there and check the patient out, and we make sure that the patient can go or not go, and so we very rarely get a service call on an EMS call.
Well, what is, my question really was what was service, because when I looked at it, fire was 8%, and EMS was 41%, and service was 33.7%. What is, or 34 rounded, what is service?
Service calls is your lockouts. We get called for water main breaks every once in a while. We turn around and they come through our dispatch, so we get a number assigned to that call. Then we turn around and call the water department for their problems like that. And then public service or assistance, public education, or, you know, we go out to the public to teach a class or whatever. That's all the
Okay.
service incorporated into that number.
All right, thanks, that answers my question.
Jim, just one last thing. I mean, from everything, feedback I got during that deluge, just want to say, all I heard was great things about our fire department and your staff, how well everybody did. So I just want to pass on our thank you for doing a great job as usual.
Thank you. Well, it also, you know, I mean, we need kudos to our neighboring departments too, because Westlake came in on our lightning strike, so did Roanoke. And then, once we found out that wasn't anything, then we had 3 calls back to back. So they went in different directions helping us too. So it's a good system. It really works. So.
Thank you, Chief
And thank you.
Thomas. No other questions. We will move into our closed session. Pam, would you do the,
Yes, yes, the
And-
board, go ahead.
pardon me, just if I make a comment first on the way. When we adjourn, to save time, we adjourn into our closed session, and Jennifer, we have some sandwiches.
Yes, out in the hallway, and staff, if y'all will let the board go ahead of you and get a sandwich and bring it in, and we'll talk and eat in our closed session, and staff, y'all can go in my office. I left it open with the table in there for you.
Actually, staff, I
Save a
think,
little
is
bit of time,
excused
so,
after this.
okay, I'm sorry, Pam.
Not at all.
Closed session. They don't
The
need
board
to-
will conduct a closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code annotated Chapter 551, Subchapter D for the following. Pursuant to 551.074A1 to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, duties of general manager. Section 551.0712, consultation with attorney. Consultation with attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflict with the Open Meetings Act, and to seek advice of counsel on matters involving pending or contemplated litigation, settlement offers, or legal matters not related directly to litigation or settlement. And Section 551.074, personnel matters. A, pending litigation in cause number D1 GN 14-0001983 in the District Court of Travis County for expedited declaratory judgment relating to issuance of bonds by district to finance wastewater treatment plant improvements. B, pending litigation in cause number 14-03-540158 in the District Court of Denton County relating to access to the 3.996 acres of land purchased by the district from BDMR Development LLC in January 2013. C, waterline relocation agreement with McGuire Partners, Salina Land LP. And what time, President Moss, are we going into closed session?
It is 5:48.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Uh,
But yeah, staff.
Reconvene into the regular session. The time is 6:49. Item 11, consider and take appropriate action regarding closed session items. We do not have any items to take action on from the closed session. Items for future agendas. If nobody has any at this point in time, we'll set the next meeting date, August 19th. Any objections?
Nope.
If there are no objections to it, then
Oh, I'm sorry, never mind, no.
the meeting is adjourned at 6:49.